Welcome, welcome. We really appreciate you joining us for National Invasive Species Awareness Week. Please let us know where you're joining from. And again, we're really pleased to have you here today. As we head into day 3 of National Invasive Species Awareness Week, I want to take a moment to reflect on the conversations we've already had. On Monday, we heard 5 outstanding presentations from the U.S. Geological Survey that underscored the critical role of science in invasive species management, from applying the One Health framework to advancing point-of-use eDNA tools to reducing wildfire risk from invasive vegetation in Hawaii and developing acoustic deterrents for invasive carp. The message was clear. Strong science strengthens our ability to detect and respond as early and effectively as possible. Yesterday, we heard from Hannah McKenzie about Alberta's wild boar control efforts. Her presentation highlighted the importance of coordinated, long-term strategy, as well as the funding and monitoring challenges that arise as populations become more rare on the landscape. It was a powerful reminder that success requires persistence. If you missed either day, the recordings will be available on NISAW's YouTube channel next week. For those joining us for the first time today, National Invasive Species Awareness Week, or NISAW, is an international event powered by NISAW that brings attention to invasive species, their impacts across North America, and the actions we can take to prevent their spread. This year's theme is Defending Our Health by Stopping the Spread. It highlights how invasive species affect not only ecosystems, but also human health, food systems, infrastructure, recreation, and overall community well-being. It also emphasizes proactive prevention, early detection, and coordinated response as essential strategies to reduce risk. NISAW brings together practitioners, researchers, policymakers, and community members to elevate the importance of invasive species prevention and management. Throughout the week, we are also sharing ways for you to engage with your elected officials so they hear directly from you about why this work matters and why sustained support is critical. We still have 2 fantastic webinars planned this week, highlighting marine biosecurity and public health and the connections between invasive species and food security in the United States. We encourage you to visit our website to view the full schedule and register for these remaining sessions. If you are unable to attend a webinar live, recordings will be posted to our YouTube channel following the event. Before we welcome our speaker today, I would like to take a moment to share a brief overview of NISAW for those who may be new to our organization. NISAW, the North American Invasive Species Management Association, is a nonprofit organization, and our mission is to empower invasive species management in North America. We serve professionals, practitioners, and researchers working across disciplines to prevent, detect, and manage invasive species. NISAW is guided by 16 board members and supported by 10 active committees that help shape and strengthen our programs. We have a team of 7 staff members and a membership that continues to grow each year. We currently communicate with over 15,000 subscribers and engage with over 38,000 social media followers. During National Invasive Species Awareness Week last year, our collective outreach reached more than 3.4 million people, and we are excited to continue expanding that impact this year. At NISAW, we provide the connection, the voice, and the tools needed to address invasive species across North America. Our work is organized around these 3 core pillars. We create opportunities for collaboration and knowledge exchange through webinars, summits, our annual conference, and professional discussion boards. Our goal is to connect practitioners, researchers, policymakers, and partners so they learn from one another and strengthen their impact. We elevate invasive species issues on a national stage through our government relations program and initiatives like National Invasive Species Awareness Week. We work to ensure that decision makers understand the importance of this work and the need for sustained support and funding. We equip our members and partners with practical resources for prevention, management, and outreach. This includes Play Clean Go, the NISAW Shop, the Certified Weed-Free Products Program, Mapping Data Standards, and NISAW Academy. As we continue celebrating National Invasive Species Awareness Week, I also want to quickly highlight the NISAW Shop at shop.nisma.org. You'll find boot brush stations and replacement parts, buckthorn blasters, apparel, outreach materials, and more. These are practical tools that support prevention and management efforts across North America. In honor of National Invasive Species Awareness Week, use code NISAW26 for 10% off your purchase. And we'll put that in the chat for you now and a link to the shop. Members can stack their member discount on top of that, and every purchase supports NASMA's programming. This promotion is available this week only, so be sure to take advantage of it while it lasts. We also have a brand new collection for Squeal on Pegs that I recommend you check out. One of the most important ways we facilitate connection is through our NASMA annual conference. Each year, over 300 invasive species professionals gather to share research, case studies, and management experiences. This year's conference will be held in Alexandria, Virginia, October 19th through the 22nd, with the theme Local Leadership, Global Impact. We have some great keynote speakers lined up already, and registration is now open. We are also accepting abstracts, and you can learn more on our website. As a friendly reminder, your membership dues help to fund our educational programs like this webinar. If you are not currently a member, we offer a variety of different membership options. You can view our membership structure on our website, nasma.org. And if you're unable to become a member right now, we encourage you to make a donation. Every gift, no matter the size, helps to support our programming. One of our newest member benefits is our NASMA discussion boards. When you become a member, you'll have access to these boards where you can ask your peers questions, share resources, discuss emerging challenges, and learn from peers across different sectors. We also have invasive species news, job opportunities, and trainings listed too. We're really excited about this new member benefit and hope you will join us on the discussion board soon. If you want to sponsor NASMA in a bigger way, our Premier Partner program is designed for you. Premier Partners enjoy benefits throughout the year, including acknowledgement on our website, at events, and more. We would like to acknowledge and thank all of our 2026 Premier Partners, whose generosity helps to make events like this webinar possible. And now we'll get started with our main event. Thank you for joining us today for our NISAW webinar, Current Situation of the New World Screwworm in Mexico. Before we begin, a quick note for our audience. Please put your questions in the Q&A box so we can make sure to address them after the presentations. Take a look first to see if your question has already been asked, and if so, give it a thumbs up to promote it to the top of the list. To get us started, I'd like to welcome Dr. Gabriel Ayala Barunda. Dr. Ayala is a doctor of veterinary medicine with a master's degree in microbiology and serves as Director General of Animal Health at the National Service for Health, Safety, and Agri-Food Quality in Mexico. He has extensive experience in animal health research, the evaluation and implementation of animal and plant health and safety programs, and the national coordination of federal programs addressing animal diseases, such as bovine tuberculosis, brucellosis, rabies in bovines, and other susceptible species, and tick control. He has served as a consultant on projects for the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, the Inter-American Development Bank, and the trade agreement between Mexico and the European Union, and has worked as a private advisor to dairy production units in northern Mexico. I would like to thank our speaker for joining us today. I will now let you share your slides.
Thank you. Okay. I'm going to talk about the current situation of the New World Screwworm and the strategies for its prevention and control here in Mexico. This is a problem caused by a diphtheria that parasites warm-blooded animals in its larval stage. And in order to develop, needs to feed on living tissue. The difference of other flies, this fly, the larva, has to be feeding with living tissue, not dead tissue. And this is what we call the myiasis, that is the disease caused by the presence of the larva of this fly, Cochioma omnivorax. This parasite has a very interesting life cycle. In tropical climates, the whole cycle is completed in 18 days. It means that the perfect area for the develop of this problem is all the tropical climates. Some of the zones in Mexico are very adequate for the production of the dispersal of this problem. But also we have some temperate climates where the life cycle has a 20 to 24 days long. But also we have some areas in the northern part of Mexico of cold weather where the life cycle extends to 60 to 90 days. It is important to know that this parasite, the fly, can survive in different conditions. The process is that from the pupas that are in the soil emerge the flies, and these flies have an adult stage of 10 to 14 days, where the females are mating with the males and try to collocate the eggs in a fresh wound. When the female fly do that, can oviposit about 200 eggs per each oposition. In a lapse of 20 to 12 to 14 hours, from these eggs emerge the first stage of the larva. The larva has 3 stages, 1, 2, and 3. The last one is the mature state of the larva that looks for the soil to be on the ground and change from the larva to the pupae. And then the cycle is completed. It's important to know that there are infestation sites of any wound, fresh wound, that can be present in the animals, even in humans, and can cause that problems, as you can see in the middle of the jaw of a horse that has been eaten most of the tissue. This is because the owners do not check the animals. But as you can see in the photographs, we can find many infestation sites where the larva is present and is eating the tissue, the live tissue of the animal. This is a very impressive photographs, but many of the animals that are treated by our personnel are in a good condition in 15 days. But there are some cases that goes to the to this kind of wounds and infestations that are very impressive. Here we are about the cases in Mexico. From November 21, 2024, when we detected the first case in a shipment of cattle in the south part of Mexico, in a checkpoint, federal checkpoint called Catasaja, we found an animal with a myiasis that was confirmed as Cochleoma omnivorax in November 21, 2024. This shipment was consigned to the north part of Mexico, to the state of Nuevo León. It means that if we will be prepared for this problem, this case will be arriving to the northern part of Mexico, close to the border, in the first case in November 2024. Due to the preparation that Mexico had in checkpoints in the southern part of Mexico, we could detect this case. And to date, February 23, we have had 16,199 cumulative positive cases, from which 15,379 are inactive cases. It means that cases that are resolved and the animals are healthy. And only we have, as you can see in the map, 740 active cases. What means that? What means an active case? An active case is an animal that was detected with the myiasis of Cochleum immunoborox and was treated. So these active cases are animals that were treated now and are in the process of being inactivated in 15 days. When we go back to the premises and check that the animal or the animals have healed their wounds, and there are no other cases of myiasis in the premises. So this is what we have now in this moment. As you can see in the map, we have incursions from the biological corridor in the Gulf of Mexico that moved the problem to the state of Tamaulipas, close to the border with Texas. We have been working a special operation there to avoid the advance of this problem. At the moment, we have been containing the plague for 15 months and has now arrived to the United States territory. We are containing that, and we are trying to avoid the dispersion to the northern part of Tamaulipas and avoid to have reached to the United States. This is the trend of the situation of the cases by epidemiological week. You can see we have had a peak of 526 cases in the epidemiological week of 45 of 2025. This has been the peak. Now we have seen a low number of cases, and don't put attention to these very low points because it was in the holidays and maybe the people do not send the suspicious to our personnel. So we have now descent in the cases by week at this moment. This by state, this is the cases that are reported from February 15 to 24. And as you can see, we have a dispersion in different parts of Mexico, different states. We have had some cases, 3 cases in Nuevo León, in feedlots that are contained very quickly, and we have no dispersion of the fly there. And also, we are working, as I said before, in the state of Tamaulipas to avoid the advance of the fly. Why we have this distribution? This is very important to know. We have 3 pillars to control and eradicate the problem. One are the operations in the field that includes the attention of all the reports, the intentional look for cases. We are going from farm to farm looking for cases. We are trapping for the search of flies in the areas where we have some cases. And this is an operational field activities that are being set and are very costly because we need a lot of people to do that. The other part, the other pillar, the second pillar is the animal control movement. That is very, very important. We have many checkpoints. I'll talk about that later in this presentation, but it's very important to avoid the dissemination through shipments of animals that have the myiasis. And we can assume that when we have a case at a long distance from the class one, it means that this was moved by a shipment of animals containing animals with the myiasis. The second pillar is very important, but it also is very hard to maintain because there are many people to try to avoid the checkpoints. So we have defined some other strategies to control that. And the last one, pillar, a very important pillar, is the use of the sterile fly technique. In the past, when we eradicate the screwworm from Mexico, we had a plant in Chiapas that was producing 500 million flies per week. So we can have enough fly to distribute in the country. But now we are depending only from the production of sterile fly from the only plant that is producing this sterile fly that is in Panama and have a production of 100 million flies per week. So we are having a very little amount of flies. So what we are doing is trying to use another strategies to contain the movement of this problem. By species, the cattle, the bovines are the main species affected because there's a lot of movement of animals in Mexico, and we have had a lot of cases, almost 70% of the cases in cattle, but we have had an increase of the cases in the dogs, especially in rural areas where the dogs are free, they are not in the houses, and they fight each other, make wounds, and the fly can oviposite in these wounds. So we have an increase in this case in canines, and we are working together with the Ministry of Health because they are in charge of the program of rabies in dogs, and we are working with us to have surveillance in this species. We also have cases in pigs, horses, sheep. In humans, we have about 115 cases, all cases reported by the Ministry of Health. At the beginning, when we found the first case in human, the health area are no concerned about what was this problem. And people train the personnel of human health to diagnose this problem and how this problem can be treated to avoid diseases in humans. Now, all the cases that we have in Mexico are being treated, are healthy people, and some remains in treatment in home or in hospital. But every case in humans are treated as we have to do. We have other species, goats, cats, some cases in avian population, especially in small houses. And in wildlife, we have had one case in water buffalo, one case in an eagle, and one in a rabbit. By the type of the wound, the navel is the first one. It's the natural wound when an animal is arriving neurosis, but also at the same time, the lesions that the cow have or the female have during this process of having the new animals. In the second case, in the second stage, we have the traumas that are being normal in the animals when they are in the field and have some scratchings or or some wounds that are made by the environment. We have some wounds made by the wires that are used to have the fences that are also a part of the problems that we have when the animals are very close to the fence and make some of these wounds. We have fight among the animals that are causing these wounds and are susceptible to the opposition of female fly. We have bites by some animals like the bats. That we have some areas in Mexico that are present this vampire that makes these wounds. We have also problems when we identify the animals with an air tag. And also when we do that, we provoke a wound. And if it's not carefully treated with some larvicide, the wound that is made artificially for the identification can cause the female fly can oocyte in this area. We have lesions for ticks that are present in some areas in Mexico that also are part of the lesions infested that we have had in Mexico, and some other that we have recorded. But as you can see, there are lots of areas where we can have a wound that is susceptible to be infested by the New World Screwworm. What are we doing to contain, and as I say, contain the problem? Because we are not having enough amount of steril flies, we are trying to contain the advance of this problem. We are constructing a plant in the southern part of Mexico, in Chiapas, in Metapa, that is going to be in operations in June of this year. And we're going to start to produce steril flies. We are planning to have 100 million steril flies per week in September. So we can add this production to the production that we're having from Panama. And we are going to use it in a very strategic way. But the prevention and control activities we are doing the promotion of animal health notification and education of the producers. This is a very important part because in the 30 years that was eradicated the problem in Mexico, there are new generations of producers, cattle producers, that are not aware of this problem. And they do not know how to treat it. As in the past, where most of the people were aware of this problem and they avoid the fresh wounds not treated. They treated the wounds and then send the samples. Now we have to educate the new generations to the problem of the New World Screwworm and how to be controlled. Also, we have control of the animal mobilization. We have case care of envelope of all the cases with the suspicious notifications. We are dispersing the steril flies in a very limited amount. And we are doing something very important, the remote diagnostic using imaging. I'm going to talk about a little more about this, but this is an innovation in Mexico. We are trapping flies for surveillance, but also we are using a kind of traps to suppress the adult flies in some areas, many areas of Mexico. We are using 3 types of traps. The one that you see in the picture is the one we started to use to trap for surveillance. But now we are having another 3 types of traps that we are promoting, and I'm going to talk a little more about that in the next slides. We do epidemiological surveillance and research. And we also have a strategy to control movement of bovines, where we have the implementation of the authorized pens in origin and authorized feedlots in the destiny, so we can have control of the animals when go out of the affected area and are received in the buffer and free area. So this is a origin destiny strategy of control movement that is included with the strategy of using checkpoints in the transit of the shipments of cattle. We have a lot of promotion. We have done a lot of promotion and notification. We talk with producers. We have given more than 3,725 talks to producers and the general public, mainly in rural areas, and to educate the people about how to detect myiasis and also how to treat the wounds to avoid the presence of the myiasis. We have distributed more than 3.5 million brochures, 81,000 posters, and 5,050 traps with information about the New World Screwworm. We use the technique of the loudspeaker equipment, where we are sending messages in the rural areas. We have 203 teams with these institutional audios that are translated to 10 native language in the rural areas in the south of Mexico. We have also the strategy of painting fences with messages. We distributed tubes for collecting worms from diagnosis. 190,000 tubes has been distributed. So the producer that is educated to take the samples, put in the tubes, and then heal the wound with a product that we are distributing that are included in what we call a kit for treatment, in sockets with power, larvicide and healing power. Called the commercial name is Negasunt, Escumofos, and kill the worms and heal the wounds. So we are distributing all these materials so the producers can treat opportunely the wounds, kill the larva, and take some samples to the diagnosis of the myiasis. Informative talks anywhere, with all our personnel and also with the help of personnel from states and from the auxiliary organisms of health that are distributed in all the states. We have been working very closely with the personnel of human health that are now trained to differentiate this problem from other that are present in the rural areas. We have very close talks with the producers and the associations, organizations that they have, and some other institutions that are part of the federal or state governments that are helping us to distribute this information to all the personnel in the country, not only in the affected area, but in all the country. We have the distribution, dissemination material, wound healing kits, and we are using many strategies to send the message of help, treat the wounds, notify immediately the presence of myiasis. And all this is very strong work that we are doing. This is the speak loaders that we are calling. And you can check that we are sending many of these messages to the people in the rural areas even in the most far from the cities where the producers are aware of this problem. We have had a course online. This course was elaborated by our technical personnel in the Binational Commission of Prevention of Foot and Mouth Disease and other exotic diseases. We call it CPA. And since March 23, they put online a course of identification, differentiation, and diagnosis of the New World Screw, and it's now working. We have had 263 courses that includes 149 institutions along the country with almost 22,000 participants. This is a course online that also are requested by for people in Central America. This is open for anybody who wants to know about the way to differentiate the myiasis of New World Screw from other myiasis that are present in the field. So this online course has given us the opportunity to prepare our technical personnel before the New World Screw came into Mexico territory. We have a lot of the drills. We have prepared professionals, 128 professionals in the states, different states of Mexico, where we prepare for the presence of the New World Screw in an area. And these are part of our groups of special operations and emergency operations for animal health are in all the states of Mexico. So we prepare this personnel that is from federal government, state government, municipal government, and also from the health organizations that are dedicated to do the job in the states. What we do in the case management, when we are receiving a suspicion of New World Screw, when we arrive to the farm, we interview the owner or the responsible person of the animal so we can take all the data, epidemiological data about the case in some sheet that we use to collect all epidemiological data. Then we check not only affected animals, but also healthy animals. We check all the animals in the farm. We treat all the wounds, and also we treat the myiasis. Normally, we have one or at least two animals affected in a farm of 20, 50 animals. But we check all the animals, and we do the application of larvicide healing treatment that consists in the injection of ivermectin, for all the animals that we can treat with this product. We do spray bathing with larvicide products to the 100% of the animals, not only the cattle, of all the animals that are susceptible to be treated with these larvicide products. And we applicate a complementary treatment, having the spray of this larvicide in all the areas where the animals are present, like corrals and some places that the animals rest, etc. We do that to treat the soil and try to kill the puppies that are in the underground area. We also do epidemiological monitor by the personnel of the NISAW. The NISAW is the operational program of emergency in animal health that we have in Mexico to treat these kind of situations of emergence of plagues and diseases. This monitoring is during the evolution of correct healing of the affected animals. And finally, we do complementary research we do epidemiological surveys. We define the focus area and the perifocal area, about 20 kilometers of the radius of the case. And we visit all the farms in this 20 kilometers area. And we are treating all the wounds. We are looking for new cases of myiasis. And if we found it, we treat it and we report it. And also we apply the spray baths to the animals and to the premises. And all this is to be sure that we have or not secondary cases from the case we found at first. The case management includes the treatment of the animals, the treatment of the wounds, and also the myiasis. And also we do the diagnostic in the farm. As you can see down in the second image, there is a technical personnel that is doing the process of diagnostic. We're going to have more details about this process because we have for all the people in the CPA that are in charge of the attention of the suspicions of myiasis in a period of no more than 24 hours. Our personnel arrives to the farm due to all the process that I have tell. And finally, when he finished all this process, they take the samples and use a microscope with a digital screen and take pictures of the larvae that are collected in the specific structures that can have a diagnostic or experts in the laboratory. So they were trained to look for these special photographs of the structures of the larva. And then they sent the photos by mail or by WhatsApp to the laboratory. And in about 1 hour, we have a diagnostic about the presence or absence of the New World Screwworm. So this is an innovation that gives us an opportunity to have a very opportune diagnosis. All the cases are confirmed because we send the larvae to the laboratory. This is a pre-diagnosis, but it's made in 1 hour, 2 hours at least. We are doing this with the identification of the flies of Cochioma, but it's not necessarily the use of this technique. Is mostly used by the identification of the larvae. This has allowed us to have more certainty when we are having a myiasis, and we can confirm it in very short time. As we tell you, we have this sanitary sweeping. That is the intentional search of cases in buffer and areas, and also in free areas where we have had these cases. This is a process where we define a perifocal area of 30 kilometers and do the inspection of all the domestic animals we have in the farms around these 20 kilometers. We treat the wounds, we train the producers for preventive actions, and this strategy has been very important to avoid the dispersion of the screwworm, New World Screwworm. And we have done from April 2025 to January 2026, we have visited more than 20,000 farms and inspected more than 100,000 animals of all species that were present in the farms. As you can see in the map, we have had intense activity with these sweeps in Mexico. And also we are working in the northern state, in the state of Tamaulipas, in the southern part of Tamaulipas, northern part of Veracruz, and the part of the Huasteca region of San Luis Potosí. We are having a lot and intense work with barridos, with sanitary sweeping, so we can find, fortunately, all the cases that are around one case that was reported. And what about the control of animal movement? This is one of the pillars of the contention of the New World Screwworm in Mexico. What are we doing? We're inspecting all the shipments, trying to find those who have an animal with a myiasis. What we do, we find myiasis in an animal that is in a shipment in movement and is suspected in a checkpoint. Well, when we find these shipments with myiasis, we treat the animals, the wounds, and also the myiasis, and then return the shipment to the place of origin with the support of the National Guard, as I said, after the treatment of the myiasis. We set a restriction of movement of the shipments in the origin place for 30 days. In these 30 days, we do the investigation to have the responsibilities and the way we are going to check the fines that the people who is moving in these cases are going to have. We applicate larvicide treatment and the larvicide spray pads to all the shipment. And also we do the epidemiological monitoring by SENSICA field personnel until it's released. And in this epidemiological monitoring, we are looking for the use of the identifiers, the AirTags, and we try to trace back to the origin of these animals to check if there are problems with myiasis in the premises of origin of these animals. We have inspected more than 3 million heads of cattle from the south to the northern parts of Mexico, moving from the south to the northern part. These are the checkpoints, federal checkpoints that we have had at the first barrier, Catazaja, Trinitaria, and Whistler. This is Cataja is one of the main checkpoints. They inspect, people there inspect about 80% of the shipments that are moving from the border with Guatemala to the northern part of Mexico. We have a second barrier with some other checkpoints that can inspect and treat animals because they have the infrastructure to check all animal by animal of the shipments. And we have set a third barrier because of the movement, the big movement of any shipments of cattle coming from south to the central and northern part of Mexico. About the steril fly, as I told you, we have only 100 million steril flies per week. Recently, in January 30 of this year, 2026, APHIS decided to move all the production of steril flies to the northern part of Veracruz, the Huasteca region of San Luis Potosí, and all the state of Tamaulipas, and also an area of 55 miles of the territory of Texas. So we are having only steril flies in this area. All the production, all the dispersion of the flies are supported by APHIS. And we are very thankful about that because there is a big support for the program in Mexico. But we don't have the enough amounts of sterile flies that we need. We are monitoring the flies with traps. At first, when we installed the traps, we combined with APHIS to install traps in these green states that are the states that are certificated for exportation of cattle, live cattle to the United States, except Nuevo León that has lost the certification. The states of Sonora, Chihuahua, Durango, Coahuila, and Tamaulipas are working in the TV program and are being allowed to export cattle to the United States. So APHIS asked us to put some traps in the northern part, and we installed 1,200 traps in 2 weeks. And it is a very, very hard work. But now we have distributed according to with the specialists of the APHIS, the traps in the different parts of Mexico, some to define that are free of the New World Screwworm, and in some areas where we have cases and we are monitoring the movement of the fly of the Cochleoma omnivores. We use this kind of traps for surveillance. It's a cylindrical that is with a glue that traps the flies, and as you can see, there is a very small device here where we put every 2 days the attractant of the flies. We have to check and clean the traps every 3 days, and this is a very hard work. Since January 2026, we have installed 1,081 traps in the states of Guerrero, Tamaulipas, Veracruz, Coahuila, Nuevo León, Sonora, Chihuahua, and San Luis Potosí. And we are checking every 3 days all the traps. We have a very important participation of veterinarians, but we have the same problem that the United States is having now. The lack of veterinarians for the field work. Most of the veterinarians are now going to the clinics in the big cities and living from treated pets. And we're having a crisis in the field to have veterinarians that work in these processes. And this is a very important part of the participation of the veterinarians in the early detection, in the case attendance, prevention and control, training and outreach to the animal owners, and also the collaboration with authorities. This is a very important part of the participation of the veterinarians, but we are having the same problem of is now in the United States there is a lack of veterinarians that wants to work in the field and in the clinics and cities. What is the participation of the producers? We ask them to review permanently the animals and pay special attention to wounds, the newborn calves, belly buttons, and vulnerable areas such as the eyes, mouth, and genitals. We are asking to look for signs of detection, be alert of signs of his infestation, such as bloody or purulent discharge. The odor of the wound is very special and very disgusting. And if you look for this wound, you can see the presence of larvae. So we are asking the producers to do that, to check the animals. Immediate treating of the wound, any wound or injury, no matter how small, they have to treat immediately. And we have asking them for timely notice to report of the cases, the suspicion of the cases, to the nearest state coordinator of CPA, or by the phone that we have at the national attendance of the cases that are here in this slide. And by WhatsApp also. We have asking the producers to participate. And some people say now that know the problem and know how to treat the animals. Well, I treat the animals and I treat the myiasis. Why do I have to notify? Okay, it's very important, the notification, because we have to know where the myiasis are present. And we can do this process of sweeping to check in the premises around the perifocal area if there are other cases. This is a very helpful tool for us to notify, to control and eradicate the pest. Collaborate directly on surveillance and rapid response, and have the curative and preventive treatment applied in time, and check that the affected animals and the rest of the animals are free of this problem. We have been working with the producers they have fear of being quarantined or the animals sacrificed. We don't quarantine animals. We don't quarantine the premises because this is a problem of a fly and a larva. This is not a case of virus or bacteria disease. So we can control the myiasis, and we only establish a restriction of the movement. Only the animals were affected. Because the other animals that are present in the farm are injected with ivermectin and can be moved 3 to 5 days before the application of the ivermectin. So we don't have to quarantine a premise or a farm where we have detected the myiasis. Only the animals are restricted for 15 days until the wounds are being healed, and there are no other cases in the farm. Where to report, we have a lot of ways to have the reports. Can be with the personnel of the CPA, can be through the emergency numbers we have here, and also through the contact with private veterinarians are in charge of the health of the animals. There are many ways we can detect that. In fact, we have an application for the cellulars that are called Avise that everybody can download and send the notification to the cell phone. So this is what we are doing now in Mexico to contain and in the future to control and eradicate the problem. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You're doing some amazing work in Mexico, and we've received a lot of great comments in the chat there. A lot of people up in the United States are appreciating your efforts. So we do have several questions. We are over time, but I thought potentially you could answer a few of these more related to what is included in the myiasis treatment kit and what chemical is used on the soil to kill the pupae.
Okay. In the case of the kits, we are having a tube that includes a small tube with alcohol where to put the samples of the larvae. There is a, how do you say, pinzas, the one used for the eyebrows, to collect the samples of the larvae and put into the tube. And also, we have a presentation of a Commophos production, about 10 grains of the Commophos ingredient that are used for treatments of the wound in the process of the healing of the wound we we ask the producers to put this 3 times in 3 days, and also a sheet with the basic information, epidemiologic information that is needed to start the investigation. This is what we have in the kit that we are distributing along all the territory, Mexican territory. And what we are doing, what we're using for the spray bats, we are using a mix of cypermethrin. Let me check, and the other one is chlorpyrifos. This is a mix of larvicides that are very effective in the case of the spray of the animals. We don't have enough tip bats in our country for doing an immersion bath. Most of this infrastructure is in the northern part of Mexico. But in the south, we use this technique of the use of a spray with the special bombs that disperse all the product in the animals and also in the premises, in all the areas where the animals rest.
Well, that's great. And then there was a question about following all the extensive outreach activities. Did you see any significant levels of false positive reports by individuals mistaking other types of tissue ailments in animals for New World screwworm infection meiosis?
Yes, about 75% of the cases that we have detected are due to a report from a producer. So this means that the outreach is doing a good result in having the education for the producers to timely send the report of a suspicion of the wound. But also we have had an effect in the cases of the navel of the newborns animals, because at the first we have about 80% of the cases detected in the navel of newborns, but now we have a very low amount, and we are expecting that this is a effect of the outreach we are doing and all the information we have given to the producers, so they are checking the animals and have the treatment in time. We have monitoring some of these indicators about the effect of the outreach and all the process of capacitation we are doing in Mexico, and having a new perspective of a new education of the producers controlling the problem of the New World screwworm in their farms.
Oh, that's very good. Okay, well, I think we will wrap it up here. I don't know if you want to put your email in the chat if people have more questions for you. And I'll just wrap up with our final slides. But thank you so much again for joining us. It was, yeah, wonderful to hear about all this important work.
Yeah, thank you very much for the invitation and giving information of the work we are doing in Mexico to avoid the presence of New World screwworm in the United States. This is a regional problem, not a Mexican problem.
Mm.
It includes the work of United States, Mexico, and all the Central American countries. So we can eliminate, so we can eradicate again this problem from all the region. So we are working as partners with the federal personnel in USDA to develop the strategies and to control and then eradicate the problem. So we are doing a job as partners, and it's as the Secretary Rawlings said, this has been the closest communication we have in many years between Mexico and United States to control and eradicate the problem. So this is very important that not only Mexico is working, also United States is working with us and having funds to do the activities that we need to do in Mexico. So we are very grateful for the support of the APHIS USDA in this process of work. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. No, it really goes to show those partnerships are so important. So thank you again for joining us. And I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today. As I put in the chat, we do have a muster letter that you can sign to get your senators and representatives to support some legislation related to invasive species. The one we're highlighting today is the Spotted Lanternfly Research and Development Act. And then also, we do have 2 more webinars this week, so I encourage you to sign up for those and join us. We'll be posting all of our recordings from this week to our YouTube channel sometime next week. And so thank you, everyone. Happy National Invasive Species Awareness Week, and we'll see you soon.